So tracking what's been happening just over the last few days, you have this executive order. There was still massive protests on July 9th, which was already a day of action for abortion rights. There were about 1,000 people outside of the White House, and let's go to some video of that. Okay, so that's outside the White House. Whose house? Our house. Again, peaceful, fired up, etc. Turns out, I guess the White House didn't like that, didn't like the fact that people didn't like their own executive order, and on Saturday put out just a banger of a statement to respond to some of the criticism they've gotten. So this is from Kate Bedingfield, communications director of the White House, saying the president has been showing his deep outrage as an American and executing his bold plan, which is the product of months of hard work. Is it? Ever since the decision was handed down. Then the kicker. Joe Biden's goal in responding to Dobbs is not to satisfy some activists who have been consistently out of step with the mainstream of the Democratic Party. It's to help women who are in danger and assemble a broad-based coalition to defend a woman's right to choose now, just as he assembled a coalition to win during the 2020 campaign. Of which the groups who are now criticizing him, who he calls activists or like fringe activists, were fucking on board for. There were a lot of people, especially in the reproductive rights sphere, who sided with Biden over Bernie for a strategic reason. Potentially safer bet, potentially someone who at least wouldn't give up, again, a crown jewel of the Democratic Party, which is reproductive rights.
Yep.
John?
Yeah. Look, it's like we say, the Democrats, if you watch them, 9 days out of 10, you'd come away believing, man, they have no fight in them. But then on that 10th day, you're reminded, they can fight, but only against the left. They will attack. Right. Or it's not even the left in this case. They are the people that were criticizing them. Sure, they were the left, but many Biden supporters, quote unquote, moderates and centrists, I don't think those terms really mean anything, but people self-identify. Those are the people that are being criticized there. They're pretending in the White House that these people are out of step. No, we know exactly what the polls say. We know exactly what people want. They're just not doing that. Mm-hmm. And I was also told during the primaries that Bernie, too divisive. He's always dividing people. Biden is the unifier. Why are you attacking your own side on an issue that supposedly you agree with us on? This is Biden and his team being incredibly divisive during a time where people are rightfully horrified at the lack of action coming from the Democrats.
Absolutely. And it's so cynical to say they're out of step with the Democratic Party. I'm sorry, who's out of step with whom here? If the Democratic Party's leader, like Nancy Pelosi, is campaigning for an anti-choice representative like Cuellar in Texas, fuck you. You guys are the ones who are out of step with the masses of your voters, the people who handed you the keys to the castle, who fought for you, who flipped Georgia for you. Honestly, I mean, and I do think that there's a lot of cracks. If there weren't before, if there haven't been cracks that we've seen in the armor of the Democratic Party that really doesn't exist, it's just kind of like a light little tablecloth, I feel like even people now, I feel like folks who are more comfortable now are starting to see like what is truly at stake, and how much also the fight for reproductive rights is about the fight for healthcare and is about a fight for for working class people. There's a difference between people who can afford to have 5 kids, 7 Romney amounts of kids, and people who can't. You know what I mean? Like, it's a class thing. To say nothing of people who don't want to be parents at all. And so it's just insane to me that they continue down this road and they continue to finger wag. And I like to check in with David Axelrod, and he was quoted in this article. And I thought it was an interesting assessment kind of just feels, again, just a fucking bitter ass Beltway pundit or a Beltway advisor. And he writes about Biden. He's quoted, one of the reasons he was elected is that he's decent, temperate person, and there's no doubt that he can raise his voice. I think there is doubt that he can raise his voice, but just physically.
Well, he might do it, but then he might pass out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it doesn't come naturally to him, and it doesn't land well, said David Axelrod, a former senior advisor to Obama. People got the president they voted for. You're damn fucking right. And I think those are good qualities that he has, but they may not be the qualities that some people, particularly activist Democrats, are looking for right now.
That's
First of all, it's bullshit. It's utter bullshit. Because why? Because John and I are both reading the news, and we've seen that this entire week, the last 2 weeks, have been nothing but inside Democratic Beltway people saying, I don't think he's up for the job. It's not activists. It's their fucking inner circle.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, maybe he made this claim during the primary and I missed it. Maybe he made a speech where he said, if they strip away Roe v. Wade, I'm going to do literally nothing for weeks. And then we're going to put together a commission and probably do nothing. I'm going to do nothing. That's not what he said. And by the way, David Axelrod knows as well as Biden and his team know that he pretended throughout the primary to be far more progressive than he's ever been throughout his career, and that he ever had any intention of being as president. The fact that he's not doing anything in the wake of the destruction of Roe v. Wade is the worst example of this impulse. But you can look at almost any issue. He made promises about student loan debt. He's just not doing it. He implied he would be someone that we as progressives knew there was basically no chance he would be. And as president, he's doing effectively nothing. So saying like, oh, you shouldn't be mad at him or mean to him because he's just being who he always said he was, that's not at all accurate. David Axelrod knows that.
No, yeah. And also, and this is sort of where I have to like hit back against, for me, I feel like we have to defend against centrists and this kind of like disgusting, cynical complacency, but then also some of the like inaction from the left, and also the I told you so finger wagging of like, that's why you shouldn't vote for Biden. And it's like, no one's saying that actually. You know, it said a lot for me that Biden had to bend over backwards to bring in the Bernie vote, had to get Bernie on, that Bernie was in multiple calls. Bernie campaigned for him, saying he wants to be the most progressive president since FDR, which is basically Bernie's line. Like, it meant that we do have real power. And again, I do see voting as a defensive mechanism against our worst impulses, which is fascism. Problem is, it's very true. We've bought ourselves some time. We haven't escaped the fascism. And we certainly won't with this kind of status quo stuff. And so I definitely I also really hate when people are like, I knew he wasn't gonna, and I'm so glad I didn't vote. And it's like, good for you for fucking taking a back seat when we have like front row tickets to like the end of democracy. What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/bitchuation room. Do it.